Did you know that there's a town in Alaska where all its residents live in a single building, or that to get to Point Roberts in Washington, you either have to take a small plane or private boat, or go through the U.S. Canadian border? Today, we will be going over the 12 most secluded towns in America. To determine which towns are the most secluded, the town or location has to have at least 100 residents and a post office, and must be far away from any other town. 12. Crested, Butte, Colorado. The first town on the list is Crested Butte, a former coal mining town now called the last great ski resort town in Colorado. Crested Butte spans only 0.8 square miles and is 21 miles away from the nearest town. Being that far out, it would take about 4.5 hours of driving from the Denver airport to get to the ski town, so it's quite fortunate that there's a small airport located about 40 minutes away in Gunnison, Colorado. The small town is home to a permanent population of a little more than 1,400 people, and in winter, the ski resort pulls in a handful of people looking for pristine slopes to ski in the middle of nowhere. Before you start packing your bags and planning a winter trip, you should know that Crested Butte is often referred to as Colorado's snowiest town, which means the town may give you more seclusion than you bargained for. In the winter, most of the roads to the resort town get closed down, and it is also easy to get snowed in and trapped in the ski town. If you are still interested in visiting Crested Butte, you should be prepared to cut off time from the world through winter. 11. Marfa, Texas. One of the beauties of Marfa, a small desert town in Texas, is that it is a known arts hub and for the natural phenomena Marfa Lights. Hosting huge art installations, exhibitions, concerts, and cultural festivals has put the small town on the map. The downside to this art-loving town, on the other hand, is that Marfa is so deep in the high deserts of Texas that there isn't a city west of Marfa for 500 miles, and to get there from El Paso would take about 3.5 hours. Marfa has a population of a little over 1,900 locals and is a tourist destination because of its focus on art. Marfa might be a beautiful, art-loving desert town, but there's no denying it is so far from civilization you can't just decide to visit on a whim. 10. Eureka, Nevada. This old mining town is on Highway 50, which is nicknamed the loneliest road in America, a befitting choice considering the seclusion of the town. The closest town to Eureka is Duckwater, and it is 46 miles away. The town of Eureka is located in the second least populous county in Nevada. It has a small population of just over 400 residents, and it attracts some crowds frequently with its quaint architecture and famous opera house. The town of Eureka can be a pretty thing to look at, especially with its appearance that shows the best side of an old town, but that doesn't change the fact that it is far from civilization. 9. Kalaupapa, Hawaii. When you think of Hawaiian towns, you mostly think of beautiful beach-filled island cities. Then there's the town of Kalaupapa, which was once known as the Leper Colony. This small Hawaiian town was the site of a former settlement designed for people suffering from leprosy to be quarantined. This secluded town, located on the Kalaupapa Peninsula, is currently home to a small population of just 122 residents. The former leper colony has maintained the seclusive way of life that it was known for in the old days. To this day, Kalaupapa remains one of the most remote locations in Hawaii. Unlike some of the other secluded towns, gaining access to the town of Kalaupapa can be quite a challenge, as the national park surrounding the town only allows 100 visitors per day. Not just that, people below the age of 16 aren't allowed to visit the town. Aside from that, this tiny Hawaiian town is the perfect tropical vacation spot for those who truly want to get away. 8. Point Roberts, Washington. Point Roberts is a town that was created when the United States and the United Kingdom settled an American-Canadian border dispute in the mid-19th century. The somewhat controversial American town is so secluded that you have to first cross into Canada to get there. Or, if you happen to have access to a small plane or private boat, that can also work. The town has a population of 1,191 locals and a total land mass of 4.8 square miles. It is one of those beautiful places you'd love to retire in, but there's still the question of which country should own the enclave hovering. There have been talks about giving the territory to the United Kingdom or Canada since the town's creation, but till now, its status as American remains unchanged. 7. Red River, New Mexico. Like most towns in America, the Red River town in New Mexico was first populated after miners struck gold. It was booming in the 1890s with an abundance of gold and silver, and at its peak, it had about 3,000 residents. Fast forward to now, and what's left of the town is an even smaller, more secluded town supporting a population of only 542 residents. The secluded mountain town of Red River is located in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and is surrounded by the Carson National Forest. The closest town is Santa Fe, which is about a 2.5-hour drive away with nothing but empty roads in between. Red River is now a small resort town with tourism as its main economic backbone, attracting people with winter activities like skiing, snowboarding, and snowmobile driving. If you don't mind the drive, Red River might be just the right type of town you're looking for. 6. Tucumcari, New Mexico. Originally known as Ragtown, then Six-Shooter Siding, then Douglas, before finally becoming Tucumcari. Tucumcari is a small town in New Mexico that you can say is truly in the middle of nowhere. It is located in the county of Quay, and the closest civilization is an even smaller village called Logan, 20 miles away. One of the attractions of this town is that even though decades have passed, it still looks something like a town in a 1950s movie. Due to its antique appearance, a lot of movies have been shot in the town. Among these movies are some of Clint Eastwood's gun-toting films and many more. Presently, Tucumcari houses a population of 5,278 people, which is about 2,489 households and 1,607 families living blissfully in the secluded town. 5. Eli, Nevada. Sitting on the eastern edge of Nevada's longest highway, Eli is a secluded mountain town in White Pine County, Nevada. The town was founded as a stagecoach stop along the Pony Express in 1906, and after a small mining boom, it became a town to live in. As of now, the closest civilization around is a small territory called McGill, which is about 22 miles away, and the next closest is Las Vegas, 211 miles away. Eli has a population of 3,924 residents as of the 2020 census and attracts a fair number of crowds as a tourism center. For a town with its major attraction being a global railroad museum, the town of Eli is quite secluded. 4. Utqiagvik, Alaska. The first thing that you will notice about this town is that its name is quite a mouthful. And if you can get past the name, you'd have to go all the way to the northernmost part of the state to get to Utqiagvik in Alaska. The town has a population of about 4,900 residents, with most of its residents being involved in several oil field operations. A fun fact about this Alaskan town is that it was the setting of a horror comic series. The showrunners probably found the town to be a befitting location because, well, the horrors of the night are usually found in secluded places. Although Utqiagvik is the economic center of the northernmost borough of Alaska, it is not connected by road to the rest of Alaska due to its secluded location. The closest city to the northern town is Anchorage, which is about 720 miles away, and with no roads leading to the town, your only option is to fly there or take a boat if you have the option, although a plane is your best bet. 3. Neah Bay, Washington. Ever been to Washington's north coast? Well, located at the farthest northwestern coastal edge of the state is Neah Bay, a little picture-perfect secluded town. The town is one of the wettest places in the country, and it relies on fishing and tourism as its main economic forces. It has a population of about 865 permanent residents, and it attracts a fair amount of tourists with the Makah Museum. This museum houses and interprets artifacts from a Makah village that was partly buried by a mudslide around 1750 and also includes fishing-related history. The town also attracts a fair amount of water enthusiasts each summer with its popular spots for sport fishing. The closest town to this picturesque coastal town is Forks, which is about 30 miles away. 2. Hulett, Wyoming. If you think about it, almost every town or city in Wyoming is a little bit secluded, but then you have the extra secluded town of Hulett, located in Crook County. Hulett has a total landmass of less than 1 square mile and a population of only 309 residents as of 2020's census. Just north of the Devil's Tower, the town attracts its fair share of tourists with the surrounding Black Hills National Forest, a long-running rodeo, and more. There are 2 other towns that are between 16 and 30 miles away, known as Sundance and Moorcroft. However, these towns still only have about 1,000 residents. 1. Whittier, Alaska. There is no shortage of secluded towns in the country, but we can all agree that the one-house town of Whittier in Alaska might very well be the poster town for seclusion. The town is only accessible by a 2.6-mile tunnel that opens up during the hours of the day, and it shelters a population of about 272 people as of 2020's census. Whittier is located about 53 miles southeast of Anchorage and is roughly in the middle of nowhere. Whittier is well known as a one-house town because most of its residents live in a single massive building. During brutal winters, the entire population of Whittier makes their way to the center of the town and gathers inside the Begich Towers condominium. The closest city or town to the one-house town is about 26 miles away. Before you get your hopes up, you should know that if you're visiting Whittier, you might not get to be a guest of the town's house. Regardless, we can assure you that it would be quite the experience. But what about the 10 best states to live in 2023? Check out the video we made on that topic right here.